Hey guys, this story is not new to a lot of people. So let me give you guys a brief backstory before we come up to the present day. So about 8 months ago, 11alive.com reported on a story about carbonation because the leader, Eligio Bishop, got arrested in Cobb County, Georgia, and one of the charges is rape. And so Velvet, his wife, was supposed to bail him out of jail because she said that's why he married her, just in case he got arrested, that he would have her bail him out of jail. But she didn't. Instead, she started to talk to the news media concerning how she was treated and other members of the commune. And when he got arrested in Georgia, in the home where he rented a house for all of them, because he kept hopping from one country to the next in Central America. He was kicked out of about 3 countries, ended up back in America, rented a house in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where the cops went and arrested him on a couple of charges. One of the charges is rape. But instead of bailing him out of jail, she decided to talk to the news media. Now, the story was buried and gone because it happened 8 months ago. But now, the whole nation, Carbon Nation, resurfaced again because one of the members, who goes by the name of Soular, 2 weeks ago became acquainted with Jaguar Wright, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he became a fixture in her home, around her family for 2 weeks, just about. Now, the leader of Carbon Nation, Eligio Bishop, after he got arrested and he's sitting in jail today, his wife, Velvet, and yes, they were legally married because according to 11alive.com, they were legally married in Las Vegas, one of those quickie marriages. Now, Velvet said she was forced into that marriage. The interesting thing is, however, that after her husband Bishop was incarcerated, she picked up with Soular, who was the right hand man of her husband. Soular said he was so close to Bishop, the leader of the Carbon Nation, that he was closer to him than his own wife. So this is who Velvet is now seeing. Now, Soular met Jaguar Wright at some type of event. And Jaguar said they have been inseparable ever since for the 2 weeks that she's been knowing him. So much so that she was afraid of going back to her mother's home where they're staying. I believe someone said they're staying at her mother's home, allegedly, because she was afraid of what her husband was going to do to her. But in any event, they took a trip to Louisiana. It was a relatively good trip, a business trip, according to Jaguar's husband. But on the way back, things spiraled out of control. Her husband, Gerald, pulled out a gun, and the argument was so bad, he said, if you want to kill me, here's a gun. Kill me. She gets out of the car, and eventually they made it back home. And the argument continued because it unfolded within the 2 days that everything came to a boil. That Gerald, the husband, did not want Soular around his wife, but Soular was staying with them temporarily. And the husband said, Soular was coming out of the bedroom. That's what pissed him off. So then it became this big blow up where the husband fought Soular and the cops were involved. The paramedics, the ambulance came. They took Jaguar Wright away. She is currently being held in some type of institution somewhere. So now, Soular was forced to evacuate the place. I believe he went back to Texas, where his family is. But now, in this video, I want to talk about Velvet. She's the one I want to zero in on because she said she suffered a lot of abuse. And for the life of me, if you suffer that much abuse, why would you want to go out with another cult member who partook in those abuses of you. So Velvet said she knew Bishop for about 3 years before he forced her into marriage down there in Vegas. And the reason for the marriage, he told her at the time, was that he wanted to make sure if anything happened to him, that she would bail him out. So this is what she said about 8 months ago to 11alive.com. Let's take a listen.
I feel that now looking back, I feel that I fell in love with an idea because he pretended to be someone that he wasn't. He literally held me hostage. He took all of my identification, my passport, my birth certificate, my social, my bank cards, everything, you name it, medical documentation. I was forced to engage in sexual activity that I did not want to do. I was still strangled on multiple occasions. So I had to willingly engage in these sexual activities because of to keep myself safe. He would abuse me in front of the women.
It's just a warning to people out there who are very susceptible to these guys and women who come around, and they are very charming, but they get into your head, and before you know it, you're under their spell. This is what happened with Jaguar Wright when this guy Soular came around and he started to get into her head, and in a matter of 2 weeks, he had taken control of her, that she was willing to do harm to her husband as a result. I believe if she had a gun, she would have shot her husband when she became enraged in that car and when she threw the ashes of her dead son, whom she loved so much. She was out of her mind, because I don't think she would have ever done that if she was in her right mind. But when these people get into your mind and they take over possession of you, you will do anything. So Velvet is married to this cult leader legally because they got married in a Las Vegas chapel. Velvet has a daughter who is about 3 years old. But one of the members and some of the bloggers said that she was beaten at one point when she was in that cult and she miscarried a child. When Eligio, the cult leader, told everyone to link arms and had her surrounded, and she was in the center of this circle where he beat her to a pulp, and no one did anything about it. And Soular, who is now involved with Jaguar and is now dating Velvet, he was present. He linked arm to make sure she did not get out of that circle, and she had a severe beatdown, and she lost that pregnancy, allegedly. Now she's talking about this particular pregnancy where there was no medical attention for her, not until hours before she was ready to give birth. She had no prenatal care. That daughter is alive. She's about 3 years old now.
There was no medical attention given to us. So when I actually went into labor, I had to be rushed to the hospital 2 hours away from.
It cut off, but she said 2 hours away from giving birth. But thank God that child is alive and well today. So Velvet went into detail as to how they lived. They just would move from place to place, from one country to the next across South America. When they got kicked out of one, they'd hop, skip, and jump to the next. And they would survive off of loans, members, life savings, charities, etc. She said she handed over $3,000 that was supposed to go to her college fund to him. She said she escaped after 4 times of trying.
My child is important. I don't understand how anybody could leave their child to be with him or to go live with him.
So instead of Velvet distancing herself, now that she is safe, it's been 8 months since she has been relatively safe away from this man. Now she hooked up with one of the other members, this guy who is entangled with Jaguar Wright. Now she's sitting in some type of mental health treatment center, fighting for her sanity, while now report says Jaguar is okay, by the way. While this guy, Soular, is busy fighting with Jaguar Wright's husband, cussing him out over the internet. The nerve! I mean, how many women can this 27-year-old Soular want? He said he already had 4 wives. What about the 4 wives he got somewhere? Why don't he go dig them up wherever he buried them? Why he gotta go after this other man's wife? And Jaguar, right. Maybe he's attracted to married women because Velvet is married to Bishop, the cult leader, and Jaguar, right, is married to Gerald. But I honestly feel the reason why Bishop married Velvet, I believe it's because he was trying to stifle her voice. Because, a spouse does not have to testify against her husband. And I think he was doing that because he knew of all the wrongdoings he did her. The rape, the beat down, making her, miscarriage a child, all of that. And plus all the things that he was afraid she was going to bring out if he ever got arrested. So he hurried up and married her to silence her voice. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Now, a lot of these abusers believe that if they married the people they abuse, then the voice is silenced. But the woman can still testify against her husband and vice versa. So that's not necessarily true. They can still get in trouble. The wife does not have to be forced to testify, like the law enforcement officers cannot make her, but she can still testify. Anyway, guys, it's a big mess. The story is still unfolding. And as I get the story, I'm reporting it. Sometimes the story is not as accurate as I would like because, there's a lot of misinformation out there. But as I get the correct version, I'm passing it on to my subscribers. Anywho, guys, I'm over now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and to this video. Thank you for watching.